Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing fine after this long weekend here in the US. Hope everyone's feeling good. The rain just stopped here after torrential days of rain. So pretty interesting weather. It's rather chilly in Massachusetts this evening. So hello. Hope you're all well. Let's dive right into some of the things I want to talk about this evening. And I'll be keeping an eye on your questions. And I'm going to swap out my glasses so I can see your questions. So, one of the things I've been really into lately is this idea about sort of the value of outdated technology, which I think fountain pens certainly fit squarely into that. Just the idea that you can still write something down on a piece of beautiful stationery and send someone a lovely letter. I mean, how many emails have you had over the years from family and friends? Maybe you hold on to them somewhere, but do you ever really think about them again the same way you do if somebody sends you a really lovely card or a handwritten letter on some kind of nice stationery? I mean, you cherish something like that. There's something more visceral about it, more of a connection because you know that somebody almost crafted it nowadays because you see their handwriting. They made the letters on the page and now you're holding the product of that work, and that's a whole nother level on top of what it says. Whereas an email, somebody dashes off an email, it's in a generic font and you get it and it has great sentiment, so it sort of puts a level of craftsmanship on top of the sentiment. So along those lines though, starting to get into things like outdated cameras and things, like I have this, actually I have it right here. I have this Leica, and it's a digital camera. It's about 12 years old, and it takes fantastic pictures. So it's not the latest and greatest, but it's fantastic. It takes photos that look like frames taken out of a film. And once again, it makes the things you craft that much more beautiful. Or something like the Canon 5D, which similarly is an outdated full frame camera. It was the first one Canon produced. Throw something on there like a Helios Soviet made lens from the 1980s, and it gives you this incredible image that you couldn't possibly, well, you could, but it'd be a lot of work trying to do it on a phone or even in Photoshop. So I think we're getting to the point where a lot of the breaks have happened, right? So Bic pens came in, popular, their popularity sort of usurped fountain pens in the 1950s, right? Early 1950s by and large. Digital camera revolution around 2010, a little earlier, but with it sort of really cutting off probably 2000, 2005, and then with the full frame stuff a little later. But we're getting beyond all that where the later digital stuff is getting romantic. So that's something I'm working on these days. So let's go to the comments in here and see some of the stuff you guys are doing. I see a lot of familiar faces. Hello, Wolverine. Hello, Sextus. Hello, Matt. And hello, Judy. Judy Anderson is a huge friend of the channel. Nice to see you here, as are the other names, people that I see across many platforms, which I appreciate. And I should say along those lines that I'm really enjoying being here on YouTube. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I consider this my home. So I'm wearing these headphones that I recently sat on because I just want to make sure my audio quality is good. With the um, those wired earphones, it was giving a little bit of noise, I noticed in the feed, because I watch the playbacks. I'm always trying to improve. So just trying to make it a little better for you guys. So Wolverine is a film guy. He uses Nikons and some other stuff. So That's super fun. I have my eye on a Leica M8, which is Leica's. Actually, it's a crop sensor, but it was their first digital camera in the M series. So pretty fun, pretty fun. So Matt Swanson received his Krishna moon view. Probably about, I got it a few days ago myself. If you guys don't know, Krishna Moon View is one of my favorite inks. It's one of the super sheen inks. It's got a really nice blue base with a molten red sheen that is very dramatic when the light hits it. And Krishna is often out of stock. And whenever they do restock, I jump on and buy as much of it as I can. So, all of you, feel free to jump on the Krishna website and buy some. So, forgive me for taking sips. My voice gets tortured by the end of the day, so I want to hang on as long as I can. So, another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, I've been thinking a lot about journaling. And I think there's this fear with a lot of folks who journal, maybe myself amongst them. Here are all my journals lined up. That a lot of your life is trite or full of sort of the minutia of your daily life, and people often are hesitant to commit that to paper. And I think if I can extend what we were talking about before and say that these things we do every day, are the film stock of our lives. So that's what you need to put down in your journal, because from that, the narrative, the bigger themes of your life will emerge, and you'll be able to connect the dots. And you'll also be able to orient yourself within all your volumes, where you were, how you felt, what you were doing at that time. For instance, right now, my daughter's starting kindergarten. So it's a big event in our lives. She's been in her first week and loves it, is entirely too excited for school. And we're all just really enjoying her enthusiasm and her energy. So when you write these things down, a story starts to emerge, and part of it has to do with our human tendency to confess, to sort of spill your beans, especially in a safe spot. I'm thinking of the movie The Lighthouse whenever I say that. I don't know if you guys have seen The Lighthouse, but it's a fantastic performance by Willem Dafoe. And there's this scene where he's like, "You spilled your beans, boy." So anytime I use that phrase, I think of him. But anyway, we confess. People are always confessing who they are. And I think it's up to us to listen to them. And even about ourselves, we do fool ourselves at times. But those things you write down, especially in private, in your journal, is going to have the truth emerging from it. And you need to ferret that out. And I think that's one of the valuable things in journaling, certainly to me. And it's sort of like often when you see someone and they're attacking a lot of other people and you listen to the things they say, it's often a projection of who they are or how they feel weak themselves. They project onto other people. And I think it's good to recognize these things, because when you're analyzing yourself or psychoanalyzing yourself through your journals, which I think is one of the great things about a journal, is you're giving the topography of your mind. It's a read every day on where you are, how you feel, and how you're coping. When you look at that, a lot of it needs to be psychoanalyzed. So I don't want to go off too much on a tangent, but these are the things I'm thinking because I really think journalism is a profound tool that can help you to be a better person, to be more productive, and to be bolder. Like the Stoics say that one of the ways you cope with anxiety is to recognize the fact that you've been through this stuff before, that you've had similar or worse situations that you have dealt with and transcended. So, why wouldn't you get through this one? Journals do that for you without the force of saying, "Oh, I need to think that." You can simply go back and read it. I often put a little note at the top if something happens that's troubling or remarkable in positive or negative sense. So you can go back, read that, and say, "Wow, I dealt with that really well." And then similar situation comes up and you deal with it equally well. So I think it's very life affirming, if you will. So, so Jacob Dunning asks if I use a travel journal. I don't, but I have. They Moleskine used to make, and I don't know if they still do, but they were um, they were city specific travel journals, and they were a lot of fun. They had Paris, they had Rome, and I used to grab those whenever I went to one of those places, and it was fun to fill it out where you went to eat and all that sort of thing. I think that's valuable, but I tend to just write it within whatever journal I'm using at the time. I think it's like keeps the continuity, and that's important to me. I like the timeline, but there's certainly nothing wrong with a travel journal. I mean, even if the timeline in your journal stopped and you said, "Well, I'm going to fill out a travel journal. I'm heading off to Morocco next week." See the travel journal for where I am. I mean, it certainly keeps the thread going. So, and I actually really respect folks that can keep an art journal that have the ability to sketch where they are. I've tried, I lack the patience. I used to have the skill. I'm not very good at drawing anymore. I need to relearn that. I was once quite good many years ago. Many years ago. So I just think that one of the nice things too about journaling is that it's one of those things that you can do with your pens that's productive and authentic and self-driven. I think anybody who enjoys their pens for any reason and uses them for any reason is great. But for me personally, I hear some people do things like recopy books and things. That is not something that interests me. I would be much more interested writing myself or telling a story from my past. I don't want to recopy things. To me, I hold things created in higher value by myself. Um, but certainly, whatever you're into with pens is a good thing. But I just think journaling is one of the most profound, life affirming, life changing things that you can do. So let me see. Let me go to the comments here. So Matt says that he takes inventories of the things he did correctly versus incorrectly. I've only been doing it for a few weeks, but it's very useful. Yes, yes. That is a useful thing. The only thing that I found that's sort of funny, I think there are things that you can immediately tell you didn't handle well, right? So if somebody were to attack you and you respond with like harsh language, I go, "Oh, I should have taken the high road." But there's a lot of other things where you make a choice. You have two options. You make the best choice. Well, you're really lucky. Look how that turned out for you. Well, let's see. 2 weeks later, oh, I should have done the other thing. Really? Well, let's see. A few weeks later, no, I did the right thing. You know, you find this a lot when you invest or when you buy a piece of real estate or even sometimes when you commit a YouTube video out there and you enshrine something at a certain period of time and it doesn't age well. I mean, that can happen, right? We say like a certain pen is great and then there's a recall on it or something. It hasn't happened to me, but you never know. So I think you stay flexible and you stay philosophical because a lot of the times when you're down, you're not. You're just it's just part of the cycle. It may be necessary, sorry, to get where you're going next. So, in other words, I would hate to see journaling become an instrument to be overly critical of ourselves. Because in the end, we're all doing the best we can. Life is not easy, right? So Jacob says, I've seen you share videos matching fountain pens to clothes or certain situations, back to school, etc. Yes, this is something I obsess over, so I'm going to keep reading this. I love to see you match pens to certain books in your library in future videos. That would be fun. There's some beautiful books in this library. A lot of these are my first edition Hemingway books. I'm a big fan, I think, as you've probably figured out by now. And some history and biographies above me here, and some literature. Always have Shakespeare handy, and then my journals and things. So that would be fun. But I certainly do match pens with ties, with jackets, with even the mood, depending on what I'm doing. And that's an important part of this channel. And it's something I think I wish we talked more about. By we, I mean the kind of pen people, right? How to incorporate pens into your life so that it's not just something that's at the end of the day on your desk. My desk is here. You can't see it. I have a pen. Could do my pen check. You guys know what this is. It's the Pilot Vanishing Point in matte black with a medium nib, a gift from Atlas Stationers, a great outfit out of Chicago. And they gave me this for some mentions on TikTok. Fantastic pen. So this sits on your desk. That's great. But are there ways to incorporate it into your life a bit more? I always have a fountain pen on me. Some people do, some people don't. But there's many ways you can use them. You can have fountain pens for signing checks, fountain pens for journaling. You guys know I journal and take notes everywhere. I put it in the B-rolls of all my videos, various places. Sometimes I go to a place just to journal there, which is fun, especially quiet places or museums. I love that. It's super fun. So I think there's a lot of fun ways. Fountain pens can be accessories to what you're wearing to match ties, sweaters. I got a nice navy and lighter blue line here I could match with something. Actually, I think my Lamy in white would look nice with this. See, you go off that way. So certainly they have a lot of value. Pens, expressing, writing. I think people's signatures are really important. I think leaving an interesting signature has a big impact on someone. How many times have you seen someone with a beautiful signature and it's like, wow, look at that. I always respect that. So Wolverine, another big fan of the channel, has used journaling as a means of dealing with health issues. A very wise clinical psychologist turned me into the process. He said we should write to heal. I think that's fantastic. I do. I've said this to you guys before that I had some serious depression that I had to deal with, and it was the help of a psychologist that I was seeing and my own sort of way of thinking. I'm a method guy, I'm a process guy. If I have a commute, I'm always analyzing how, what time to leave to make it the best, which way to do it faster, more efficiently, what should I listen to while I'm commuting, all these things. So I saw keeping a journal as a way to diagnose my frame of mind. And I discovered a lot of things. And one of them is that my biggest trigger was food. That in those days I wasn't eating regularly. I would go on these sort of creative spurts. I still was working in the bank, but at the time I was doing a lot of photography. I'd go to Italy. I'd have like 4,500 photos, maybe 500 night pics, like a ridiculous amount of materials to edit. Um, and I would do it and I would like eat one meal a day, start to get depressed, and realize that I needed a hamburger, which sounds overly simplified, and in many ways it is, but it was one of the triggers that would put me into the spiral. And when you learn those, you stay away from them. You know, you learn to deal with it. So it's good to hear that. Matt asks, is self-censoring an issue you've dealt with? I'm still writing with the nagging thought that my wife or someone will read it years from now. That'd be okay, but not in the moment. Advice. Matt, that's a tough one. It really is, because it really depends on you and your relationship with your wife, your kids, if you have kids, and other people that would pick it up. I personally write about everything. And I think if my daughter should read it one day, she will know me very well. And I I think there's probably a value in that. I try to be sensitive about things. I certainly phrase things in a very precise way. So I certainly would want anyone to be embarrassed, and I don't betray any confidences and things. So I think you can use a bit of art to present things in a certain way that even the most risque of things or profound things or things that might not reflect well on you can be written down in a way that doesn't shock or harm anyone. So I think it's a bit of art, but I think you need to make that decision. Self-censoring for me is more of an issue when I'm on YouTube doing a live. Um, I think any sort of public speaking, you want to speak exactly and not be misunderstood, and be careful of anything that might sound wrong, just not what you intended. So, so in a way, when I speak like this, I probably speak slower than I would if you and I were having a beer, But I think in a journal, I'm certainly more. I was going to say loquacious, but I think that's when you speak. I'm more transparent. I want to look that word up, but look it up later. So, yeah, you just need to make that call. So let's see what else is going on. It's got my Platinum Plus here, debating whether to put a cartridge in it to test it out for a few days or jump in with a converter. Well, I'm a huge converter guy. I would say you could try it with a cartridge, but I'm trying to think of a pen that feels the same with a cartridge or a converter. Well, actually, I've tried that with my Kaweco Sports, and they do feel pretty similar, cartridge or converter. But when there is a converter, I just feel like the ink flows better. But I think it's psychological. I don't think that's true. We would have to do blind tests with a bunch of pens of the same type. We need like 6 identical Lamy Safaris for all of us to try 2 with converters, 2 with pistons. No one knows what they are. And then we tally the results in the end to know for sure. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it probably doesn't matter. Just enjoy your pen. Sextus says that his arrangement with his family is they can read whatever they want after I'm dead. There you go. There is that. But some of what you write could hurt them or could betray an interfamily confidence or something, right? I mean, who knows? Mine are right here, guys. They're right here. Oh, sorry. I try to avoid that. You could pick up any of these and just see what was going on. Oh, Imogen at Christmas, my daughter. How sweet. It's not so bad. Cool journal, by the way. It has the Venetian Canal, each house running down the length, including the one we stay in when we go to Venice. So always makes me happy, that journal. Matt says, I hope you do hand your journals down to your daughter in time. My mother was very big into journals, and it was incredible to read her life from her perspective after she passed. Well, sure. I mean, I certainly hope they do. I don't suspect my journals will survive more than one generation, right? Unless I do something extraordinary in the next 20 years where my name carries on, you really only live about a generation beyond your life, right? In 25, 30 years, you're forgotten. That's the reality of life. These journals will end up in a dumpster, or they'll be just scattered to the winds and show up in a yard sale one day or some antique shop 100 years from now, if it happens to survive that long. But I wouldn't suspect that they would stay together more than a generation, because my daughter will hold on to them, she'll cherish them, and then if she has children, they won't understand why, and that'll be it. But that's okay. Everything's ephemeral. We're just mayflies in the scheme of the universe, my friend. Hobby Artist says that the blind experiment that I'm talking about could be something to suggest to Brian Goulet. Sound like that's something he'd have fun with. It probably would be, judging by his pen blog that I listen to. But I have no communication with Brian Goulet. I'm sure he has no idea who I am or what this channel is. But if any of you guys do, feel free to suggest it, because I don't know him. I wish I had friends on YouTube that made channels. It would be nice. There's a lot I'd like to learn. I'd love to know which cameras they use, what their setup is, how they produce their channels. They could give me some advice there. My friends on YouTube are you guys, so this is all about us. Alfredo Franco. I believe that there's a museum in England that actually collects diaries and journals from non-famous people. Well, maybe they'll end up there one day. We may end up in England one day. So that could be very convenient. So I do wonder about that sometimes, right? How these things will go out in the world. And it's interesting. But that goes to say for many of your things, right? I mean, I did leave instructions that things, like even these books, they have value. Like my wife knows. My wife is in the business of antiques and estates and things, so she knows what to do. So yeah, maybe they'll end up there. I actually did an art project once where I started a journal. I put instructions at the beginning of the journal, and I said, write where you are right now, what problems you're facing, and when this journal gets full, send it back to me. And I put all my emails, and I don't know if I think I just put my emails. I don't think I put addresses. Send it back to me, and I'll scan it and I'll post it on a website for everyone to read all the pages. and I just wanted people to pass it one to the other, and I figured I'd get it back one day. So I wrote an entry, I gave it to someone, and I never saw it again. That was 12 years ago. So it would have been really interesting. Maybe it's something we can do again because now I have you guys, and you guys are kind of like me. You're very much like me, I think, and I think you guys might enjoy a project like that. Maybe you could just give it to another person. Now, what I had put in the book is to give it to like a random person that looked interesting, right? But maybe we just circulate it amongst ourselves and then see what we get at the end. We may have to do that one day. That would be, yeah, community journal, exactly. But something, no, you don't want it to be like a guest book. You want it to have a bit of depth to it. So, like, say something real, right? Say something about where you are, who you are, and what you're trying to change. I think that can be really valuable. So, just a thought. Maybe we'll do that. Stargazer says, wearing the Cartier. Yes, I am. I'm really digging this, guys. I don't know. I think I showed it last week on the live, but I did pick up a Cartier tank. It's always been one of my favorite watches. I have all sport watches, dive watches. The only other dress watch I have is a Hamilton Ventura. So it's really fun to have this, and I've been enjoying it. It's a beautiful watch. It keeps excellent time. I'm kind of obsessed with Cartier now. So I really like it. I see a lot of people liking the idea of the shared journal. The shared journal idea is actually cool too, because if I get it back, I could do a video on it, which would be fun. I could read excerpts, you know, that kind of thing. So we'll see. We'll see. So got some interesting videos coming up, guys. I always like to give you a sense of what's coming. This Thursday is an update on the Mont Blanc 149, not the 146. That comes later at the month, but the 149. We haven't done a video dedicated to it in quite some time. You guys, I posted about it in the community section. I am so proud of this video. It's sort of the kickoff to kind of a different level for the channel for me. It was at the beginning of me really learning better editing and putting a bit more emotion into what I do. So I think you'll really enjoy it. So that comes this Thursday. And I think the ones that follow, I think you'll really like too. The approach is changing a little, but it's a nice evolution. I think it makes it more entertaining, more educational, and more interesting. This one is particularly beautiful. And one of the things, my process and the way this channel works is what I'm editing right now goes up in mid-October. So there's a bit of a lag. So sometimes I cringe. I mean, I'm proud of everything I did. I mean, I'm learning all this as we go. I really wish, like I said, I had like a friend on YouTube that I could ask some questions. I did get a little bit of advice from Oshina O'Malley, a watch creator who's got a fantastic site. Used to be the Timeless Watch channel, but now it's Oshina O'Malley, and he gave me some really nice messages over at Instagram that were a big help. But it's not like he's not like a mentor. I wish I had a mentor, like someone who has done this that would tell me. In my professional life, I always had a mentor. I'm in the banking world, and now I'm a mentor for people. So it comes full circle. Michael Davis says, don't make me buy a 149. Got to pay for the Egyptomania first. Well, then don't watch the video. No, I don't want to say that. Watch the video. It's fantastic. It's okay to want, you don't need to buy it. Want it for a while. And I think the best way to buy it is used. If I were buying another 149, I'd probably buy one used. I'll buy other Mont Blancs. I often buy them new. I bought that. Well, that was a gift, but it was bought new. But I mean, there is a bit of, we talk about our love of pens, and the thing that drives me is curiosity more than anything else. I am so curious about a different pen, how the material feels, how the nib feels. Sometimes I'm chasing a thread. I'm chasing a flex nib, or I'm chasing the idea of smoothness, or I'm chasing the idea of refinement and design, or machining, or depth, or beauty, or value, how much value you can get into a certain pen. But curiosity is what drives me more than anything. Yeah. So I'm looking at the comments. Used they go for $500 or $600 usually for a used Mont Blanc 149. New is about a grand, a little less than a grand, but by the time you throw tax in, it's going to be a grand. Might be a little less at a pen show or a sale. They rarely go on sale though, right? But they are beautiful. Oh, so yeah, Matt says why use character price? Definitely price, Matt. Um, a grand is a lot of money for a pen. It's a lot. I mean, I've spent it. I spend it, and curiosity makes me spend it. But it's a lot of money for a pen that for half the price you can get it the way it'll look in 2 months. So, especially me, you guys know I'm hard on my things. So, I recommend used. Do I always follow my own advice? I think you know the answer to that. So, yeah. So I think that I think that depending on what you pursue, sometimes it's the cost of entry. So the Mont Blanc 149 costs $900 or so. More in some iterations. That beautiful burgundy one, I'll buy that. I'll see it and I'll buy it. And I'll probably pay full price for it. And I won't be sorry. But I'll say it's not the best way to buy it. So curiosity drives me more than anything. Because, it's like, I don't think that things impress people. I don't think that impressing people is a goal. I don't consider, I consider other people's feelings, but I don't consider other people's opinions about things, if that makes sense. I think I'm kind of old enough where I'm liberated by what's cool and what isn't cool, or I'm trying to pretend I'm something I'm not. I I think I am exactly what I look like. I think I'm very consistently me in all situations. And I think that comes with age. So buying something like a Mont Blanc just to lay it down on a table and have people go, "Oh, nice pen," is not the goal. The goal is to experience it, to see what it can do, to consume it, to use it. So you don't necessarily have to get it new to do that. I guess if you want to put it in a pen holder on your desk and use it as a prop for conversation or to have people impressed, it's a different perspective. So curiosity gets me in trouble. Wolverine bought all four of his MBs 149 used and in mint condition, and paid between 350 and 450. So there you go. You got a good deal, actually. When was that, my friend? I mean, I keep an eye on some of the pen shops. I don't see them that cheap these days, but it could be. German boy, can I give some insight on the Ferris wheel brush pen? I can. I did a whole video on it that no one watched. It hurt my feelings. I even made all these paintings at Family Art Day just to have brush pen with some paintings, and nobody watched it. Nobody liked it. It really hurt my feelings, guys. But the Ferris wheel brush pen is actually really nice. It's a really lovely writer, and it has one of the most interesting, beautiful, and useful grips in the pen world. Now, in full disclosure, I am sponsored by Ferris Wheel Press on TikTok. They send me monthly packages and I post about it. So I do want to make that completely transparent to you guys. But that's TikTok. We're on YouTube. So let me give you the skinny. It's a really good pen. I really like it. It can be posted, but it shouldn't be posted. If you post it, you can scratch the finish. And the one I have is satin. So I don't post it. But I do wish it had a bit more substance. So it's called the brush because it's designed like a brush. It tapers and it's quite lovely. But I kind of wish it didn't. I wish it was a little thicker. I mean, there are brushes that are thick, the bigger brushes, right? It does work for precision. I have a very small journal right now. I'm writing in a journal that's this big. It's fantastic for writing in a journal like that. And it's a good pen. It's worth the price. It's like nothing else. It has a really neat nut on the cap. It's very beautiful. The nib and the grip section are just lovely. So I do like it. Okay, so here's Wolverine coming clean when he got the MV149. So it's 2008, last one just before COVID closed down. We got a good deal right before COVID, but things really took off after that. So, oh, okay. So you got FPN. Is that is that Fountain Pen Network? That's the forum. So yeah, that's good. So yeah, I mean that's a great place to get stuff. So hobby artist is going to go back and watch that video. It looks like a cool pen. Thank you. Everyone should go back and watch my video on the Ferris wheel pen brush pen. It's less than 1,000 views, guys. If that happened a lot, I'd get discouraged. I'm going to show you it because I do have it handy. Sorry for bumping the mic. It's a little cramped over here to get the angle the way I like it. But so it comes in a nice little sleeve. And this one is creme glacée. So ice cream, basically. It's got this cool nut because they're inspired by the printing press. Ergo, the name Ferris Wheel Press. Has this gorgeous grip section. Look at that. It's got sort of Leonardo da Vinci slash steampunk vibes. I kind of hate steampunk, but I have to use that term. I think it's accurate. If you want to know why I hate steampunk, I'll tell you briefly. I collect manual typewriters. See this one back here? People in the steampunk community take a beautiful typewriter like this one. I have one down there that's worth around $700, has a rare typeface on it. Steampunk people will cut it up and make jewelry out of the keys and not realize that they're destroying a $700 beautiful, rare typewriter with a rare typeface. I'm sure some of them do and don't, but some certainly have. Now, you could make the argument that the nib should be gold colored, right? But the reason they do that is that it's a brush. So this is the bristle. This is it's got a name. I can't remember. And then, of course, this is the handle. So pretty neat. Highly recommend it. Oh, here's the ink that's in there. First Wheel Press also. It's the Midnight one. Forget the full name. Lovely pen, guys. But even better video with my own artwork, guys. Family Art Day. So you want to know what Family Art Day is? That's when my 5-year-old, my wife and I, do art in like 20-minute sprints. And you can see what I come up with in 20 minutes. It's not very good, but it's not awful. And it certainly worked well as a background. When I was sketching, what materials did I like to use? I'll be honest with you. Back in the day when I was sketching, I was using felt tip and gel tip pens. I haven't consistently drawn since like 1990. So this was a long time ago. And I used pencil, and then you go further back, I used charcoal. So Sextus Pompeius, basically the same reason I hate hunters. They often destroy antique firearms in order to modernize them for hunting. Yeah, any kind of desecration is bad, you know. You don't see much of that in the fountain pen world, though. A nice old Waterman 52 gets restored and put back out there, which is nice. But the people that make jewelry out of typewriters, now there are a million 1949 Royal Quiet Deluxes in gray and black. Okay. But what I'm talking about is the 1929 Royal P with Royal Moderne / Royal Vogue, whichever version you want to call it. Something I should do a video on. I haven't done a typewriter video in a long time. That is a rare beast. You guys should see this typeface. You feel like F. Scott Fitzgerald when you use that typeface. So, it needs to be cherished. So, I have some other things coming up on the channel I want to tell you guys about. I'm really hoping for your support. The one thing I notice in my posting is that people don't like pen reviews, which is interesting on a fountain pen channel. But I get to see the numbers behind the performance. They have analytics on YouTube that's fantastic, you guys. It's so interesting. Shows you your demographics, where you pull from, shows you exactly which point of your video people bail out on. Really interesting stuff. But for whatever reason, the pen reviews usually don't do well. Now, there are some exceptions. The Montblanc 149, the last one, did very well. Thank you. The Pilot Custom 823 is still doing well, which is great. Thank you. But Ferris wheel pen, brush pen just didn't do that well compared to my other videos. It's more the ideas about pens, the lists and the comparisons and things like that you guys seem to like more. So that's what I'm learning. But I will say that my pen reviews are hardly ever just about pens. They usually go into something else. So if you see one of them and they pop up on your feed, take a look. There's usually more to it. I try to get into something more emotional, more interesting than just the pen when I can. So, yeah, Sextus says he doesn't think people watch reviews unless they're planning on buying the product. That's possible. And that's it's a shame. It's a little different, I think, in where I get my inspiration from, because I don't watch pen reviews myself ever. So I was going to say I'm kind of being a hypocrite because I watch my own though, but I don't watch anybody else's. I watch reviews. The inspiration for my channel comes from the watch content that I watch. And I think people in the watch community are curious about watches, and it doesn't really matter which. It's about the presentation, and it's about what you learn each time. So I feel the same way about pens on in a personal level. I'm curious about pens and all of them, and I want to know how they write and how they feel. Now, my way to find out is to buy it or have it given to me and then do a review for you guys. I would watch other channels if I wasn't afraid of being derivative or of synchronicity. I mean, I worry about synchronicity anyway, that I'll put up something and somebody else will put up something and it looks like, I copied them or they copied me. Um, I mean, I post a month and a half. It'd be hard for me to copy somebody else, but it might give that appearance. So I try to stay independent. And I also think it makes my channel fresher by pulling inspiration from elsewhere outside. I don't know what other people are doing. I know what Goulet's doing. I do watch Goulet. Trying to think of anybody else I might have watched. Jet Pens I watch on occasion, but that's very much about products. Jet Pens makes me buy more Japanese stationery than is reasonable. My wife and I will turn on a Jet Pens video and buy like pretty much everything they talk about, like tape with Hello Kitty on it. I mean, that's not really for me, but you get the idea. It's pretty good stuff. So let me see what you guys are saying. Let me see, guys. The custom 823 is up there with the 149, in my opinion. Alfredo Franco says. My opinion too. The Pilot 823 is top shelf. It is as good as it gets at any level. You can buy another pen, but you don't have to. There are pens that are different, and I might say you should have that. It's different. It's interesting. But that pen, as you know, because you've seen my review, is near perfect. If they'd only put a gold lip around the cap, I'd say it was perfect. But I love that pen. I love Pilot. Big fan. So, Matt loves reviews personally, especially with pens. I've never considered Ferris wheel press. Well, I'm glad you like reviews. I hope people would be more curious. I would encourage people to be curious. I think this channel is trying to encourage people to be curious about pens and writing, to sort of elevate it into your daily life and to make the channel a bit more like the watch channels are, where it's interesting on its own sake that how is this entertaining me within the pen community more than just, oh, I want to buy a Pilot Vanishing Point, I'll watch that video. Okay, but you're missing a really good video. I did a Pilot Vanishing Point video. It was a good video. It did okay. It could do better. Makes me want to get out of doing reviews. Maybe I should. We'll see. I do have a bunch coming up though. Pilot E95S. Great pen. Really good video. Came out really, really well. I am really proud of it. Esterbrook Esty, one of my favorite videos that I've done, has a really interesting, I don't even want to give it away, but it has this incredible emotional center to it. I think you guys are really going to like it. So let's see. I think you draw new subscribers when you review a popular type like the 149. I think that's kind of true. I do. But I'll be honest with you guys. I could be wrong, but I think the channel will take off when people enjoy the videos for what they are, for whatever they're about. Because the new wave of videos that are coming up, you guys, are like nothing you've ever seen. I'll be honest. I've worked really hard on them. They have a different point of view. and they have a whole transcendent framework around pens. I think you're going to really enjoy it. It's going to be very different from what you're used to. If that catches on and more people enjoy it, I think that could really spur the channel. So Wolverine's got two Royal Quiet Deluxes, an Olympia SM, one of my favorites, an Olympia SF, ultra portable, very nice. I have ultra portable with a in a beautiful baby blue Olympia. John Paul Zajakowski. Hope I said that okay. I just watched your Flex Pen video today. What are your thoughts on the Noodler's Ahab? Love-hate relationship for me. Interested in what you think if you have experience with one. Well, John Paul, I I generally don't comment on pens that I haven't used thoroughly. Some pens I've tried at pen shows. I've tried that pen at a pen show, but I barely remember it. So I just maybe that tells you something, but I wouldn't say. My favorite flex pen is the Blue Dew so far in that range. Love the Pinator quill nib, but it doesn't give you much line variation. It's a great pen, but oh yes, Wolverine has an Olivetti 32. I have an Olivetti 22 in its original box from the 1950s. And when I got it, I was the first one to put a ribbon on it and type with it. So super exciting. What are my thoughts on the Lamy 2000 if I've used it? I have used it. I used it at a pen show, so I don't have extensive use with it. I liked it. I thought it was really smooth, but I had trouble finding the edge and I had trouble finding the nib. It's the same issue I have with the Parker 51. So I didn't buy it. And I wanted to buy it. It was a decent price. I'm going to buy one one of these days soon because I want to live with it for a while and then pass opinion. But I don't think I have enough, but it's definitely a contender. Wesley Martin says knives to watches to pens. You know, I watch knives too. That's another thing I watch. I like Blade HQ and a few others that do knife reviews. I really like pocket knives. I have a bunch. I use them a lot. I think they're very romantic. I don't consider them weapons. That's not how I think of them. To me, they're tools. I use them to open things. I have a Spyderco in my bag. I just really like them. And I think similarly, I think the knife world, people just want to hear about knives. They're interested in knives. They want to hear about knives. I'd love to see us get to the point where we're interested in pens and we'll watch a pen review, even if we're not going to buy it. Trying to save my voice, guys. You can hear it. I'm losing it. Hobby artist. The big reason why I didn't watch your Vanishing Point review is I'd consider the Decimo more than the Vanishing Point. I don't like heavy pens. Well, that's fine, but it's a great video, hobby artist. You're missing my take, even if you don't like it. Maybe I don't like it. I actually like it, but I might not like it. There are pens I don't like. Pilot Falcon, for instance. But watch it. You know, I think you'll be entertained, and it's not that long. Donnie Funkhauser asks, ever been to any pen shops in Japan? Sadly, I've never been to Japan. My wife has been there and tells me I must go, that it's an amazing country, and I have not been. So maybe I'll go one day and I'll time it around the Tokyo Pen Show. That would be fun. John Paul says, you definitely sold me on trying out the Blue Dew, and you got the last name right. Thank you. I appreciate that. I try to pronounce people's names correctly. So, Yurishi pens. I love Yurishi. Good stuff. So, Alfredo Franco, who's a big fan of this. I don't want to use the term fan. Let's strike that from the record. Friend of this channel and a subscriber. Like I feel like we're all in this together, guys. There's no fans. It's just watcher and friend because we talk. Alfredo and I talk all the time. He says, I think what makes your reviews great is that you don't just discuss the pen, but other things. Venice, Hemingway, Vivaldi, and connect worlds. Thank you. Yeah, open up and connect worlds. Thank you. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to do. Trying to make it more interesting, more because pen reviews and pen particulars are not very interesting on their own. You can only say so much about the dimensions of a pen, although those are important sometimes. I personally think that which dimension is important depends on the pen. Slimmer pens, I want to know what the diameter is. If a pen's too long, I want to know that. The Conklin Doorgraph is too long. Post it. It's comically long. Post it. 7 inches. Post it. It's too long. Silly. Need two hands to write with it, practically. So you can get those particulars on a website. In fact, Goulet's website is stupendous at those kind of particulars. Weights with posted, weights unposted, diameter of the cap, diameter of the body, diameter of the grip, so you can see the taper. I mean, they put a lot of work into that stuff. It's awesome. So if I just give that to you guys, I don't think it makes me very interesting or valuable. And I don't know what the other pen reviews are doing. I'm sure they go beyond it too. So thank you. I do try to connect worlds for you guys. Wolverine suggests drinking some honey fresh ginger tea. It works great if your throat needs soothing. Does it work better than blood orange soda from Italy? Probably, right? From Trader Joe's, really. Italy via Trader Joe's. Michael Davis says the Vanishing Point was a good video, and I had no interest in the pen itself. Appreciated the scenery, etc. Thank you. Wayside Inn in Sudbury, where I got married. That's where we recorded the video for the Vanishing Point. It made it that much more interesting. It connects it to the personal. My wife and kid were just out of frame most of the time, but we had a great day and we filmed a great video with a lot of really nice scenery. Now, I think some of the fault is on me because I think I've been structuring my videos wrong. There's way too much intro, and you don't get to the good stuff until you're too far in. And I think more people would have seen how beautiful that video is if they got there. And that's my fault because I do too long of an introduction where I'm like, I introduce myself, I introduce the channel, I introduce the pen we're going to talk about. Then there's an opening credits that introduces me again and what the channel does. And then I do a pen check, and then I do a brief introduction, and then the video starts. And I've timed some of that. And sometimes I'm 3-4 minutes in before you guys even get to the meat of what we're talking about. So that's one of the changes I have made. Wanted to change it without destroying the character of the channel. And I have changed it without destroying the character of the channel. Now you'll see brief logo, brief introduction, right into some of the best parts of the video within 20-25 seconds. So that's all coming in the videos that you're about to experience. So I think the Vanishing Point had the benefit of me thinking, oh, I should do more enchanting videos with beguiling B-rolls and interesting ideas and quotes that relate to the pen and things. But it was hobbled by my structure. which was my original way of presenting the channel. I'm tempted to go in and cut it off at like 3 minutes or wherever it is that I start to talk about the pen. I can do that. But these things are like art to me. They have to stand on their own, how they are when they were created. So it will stand. Okay, so let's see what you guys have to say. Jim Carter says Gold Spot Pens is another retailer I use, kind of like Goulet. Gold Spot Pens are really, really nice people. I am friends with them on TikTok. Very, very nice people. I do have a lot of friends on TikTok in the pen community. Atlas Stationers, I love them. Fantastic company, lovely, lovely people. Huge supporter of mine. I appreciate that. Good friends. Pen Chalet is another one. Fantastic company. Lovely, nice people that are passionate about pens. It's a good thing. Judy Anderson, a friend of the channel. Thank you. I watch all of your videos. It doesn't matter if it's a pen review. I can always learn something, and perhaps I will buy a pen I hadn't considered before. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. And I hope you're entertained, because that's the point. Are you not entertained? It's Pentertainment. It's my Pentertainment network. It's about pens, and it's not. It's about that and more. So I hope you like it. Wolverine also watches all my videos, some multiple times. I love you, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Even if the pens are something I'm not going to buy. I know, and you usually tell me too. You'll tell me like, oh, that was a nice video. I hate that pen. No, you don't say it like that. You're a gentleman. But you do say like, I wouldn't consider that one, but you did a nice job in the video. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Very good. So, Larry. Hi, Larry. Larry Kamenek. You always be at your best when you make the videos you want to make and people will follow. I agree, except that my original structure isn't necessarily what I wanted to do. So it was me following what I thought I was supposed to do. And when I look at it now, there's a lot of redundancy in it. And I like to be a bit more succinct. And I think the new structure does that. You'll see a logo, you know who it is. I say something to you, we get into the journey together. And then I revisit you at the end, or sometimes during the middle, it depends on what's appropriate. I think you'll really like it. I really do. So it's good stuff, guys. There's a lot of really good stuff coming. This week is the Mont Blanc 149, an absolutely brilliant pen. One of my favorites. I've had it for over 10 years now. It was a gift from my wife before she was my wife. It's a fantastic writing pen. For most of the time, I think the first 10 years, I put nothing but Mont Blanc Royal Blue in it. Now I put everything in it. But then, not everything, by the way, guys. I didn't really talk about this, and I will sometime, but I don't put shimmer inks. I don't put sheen inks. I don't put those kind of inks in really expensive pens. I tend to throw those in Twispies and pens that I'm not that worried about, or pens that have a lot of flow, broad nibs and things. I wouldn't put a sheen ink like Moonview, which is a little sticky. It actually makes your pen sort of iridescent. I wouldn't put that in a Mont Blanc. I just wouldn't do it. Cherish these things, guys. But so that's coming up Thursday. I think you'll like that. There is a follow-up video on the Mont Blanc 146 Flex pen. Very interesting. When you guys see that one, I don't know when it's going up. I don't remember off the top of my head, so forgive me. It is one of the most profound videos I've ever made. There's parts of it that make me emotional. So I hope I hope you enjoy that one. I really do. There's one on the Conklin Dorograph that was filmed in Salem, Massachusetts. I think you'll like that. And there's one on the Estabrook Esty that was filmed at the beach, which is super fun. I think you'll enjoy that too. So there's a lot of interesting things coming up on the channel, guys. I hope you'll stay with me and grow with me and evolve, and we can talk more about pens, what you guys are into, and move it along. Another thing I should mention is that September 17th is the Commonwealth Pen Show, and I will be there at 11 a.m. on Saturday, the 17th of September. So that's a week from Saturday. And I'd love to meet some of you guys. I know, some of you in Europe, but if you happen to be in the Boston area that day, please stop by. It'd be great to see you. It's going to be a fun day. I'm going to buy some stuff and I'm going to meet some people. I know Kenro is going to be there. They're really great people. Who else is there? Bob Slate, local people. A lot of really, really good stuff. Science Notes will be there. Another great company. So should be super fun, guys. Super, super fun. So Thursday, Mont Blanc 149 video. Okay. Well, guys, I think we are at the end of our journey for now because I can hear it in my voice. But fear not, we will be together again soon. It is Tuesday, so you only have one day until a new video on Thursday, which is on the Mont Blanc 149. I think you guys are going to like it. It has some beautiful B-roll, some interesting observations, and it'll give you an idea of the direction the channel's moving in. But it's only a first step. We are going to transcend. You guys are going to be dazzled. And I appreciate you hanging out with me. So we'll talk again soon, all right? Everyone, take care.